All right, let's see how sharp you really are. Today, we're testing your knowledge of governance reporting, the information that helps boards, committees, executives, and oversight functions understand what is really happening inside an organization. But there's a catch. A report can be accurate and still be misleading. A dashboard can be green while problems are developing underneath. And sometimes, more reporting can actually mean less understanding. 10 questions, no hints, no second chances. I'll give you the statement. You decide, fact or fiction? Think fast, trust your instincts, and keep score, because this one gets tricky. Ready? Let's test your knowledge. Question 1. Here's your first statement. The main purpose of governance reporting is to give decision makers enough reliable information to exercise effective oversight. The answer is fact. Governance reporting is not simply about producing documents. Its real purpose is to support oversight, accountability, and informed decision-making. Boards, committees, and senior management need information that helps them understand performance, risk, compliance, controls, incidents, emerging concerns, and whether management actions are actually working. That means a good governance report should help answer questions such as, what is happening? Why is it happening? What has changed? What could go wrong? And does someone need to act? A beautifully designed report that fails to answer those questions may technically be reporting, but it is providing very little governance value. Question 2. Next statement. A governance report containing accurate information must automatically be a good governance report. The answer is fiction. Accuracy is essential, but accuracy alone is not enough. Imagine a 150-page report containing completely accurate data. Now imagine that the most important risk facing the organization is buried on page 137. Technically, the information was reported. Practically, the decision makers may never recognize its significance. Effective governance reporting also requires information to be relevant, understandable, timely, appropriately prioritized, and presented with sufficient context. The question is therefore not only, is this information correct? It is also, will the people receiving it understand what matters? That distinction is fundamental to effective governance. Question 3. Let's continue. A governance report should generally distinguish between routine information and matters requiring attention, escalation, or decision. The answer is fact. Good governance reporting creates hierarchy. Not every piece of information deserves equal attention. Some information may simply confirm that activities are proceeding normally. Other information may indicate a deteriorating control, missed obligation, emerging risk, repeated incident, or decision requiring senior intervention. If everything is presented with the same level of importance, significant issues can disappear inside routine reporting. That is why effective reports frequently use mechanisms such as executive summaries, exceptions, trends, risk ratings, escalation indicators, and clearly identified decisions required. Governance reporting should not force decision makers to search for the problem. It should help them recognize it. Question 4. Pay attention to this one. If every required governance report is submitted on time, management can generally assume that the underlying governance process is working effectively. The answer is fiction. Timeliness is important, but delivery does not equal effectiveness. An organization could receive every required report exactly on schedule, while those reports contain outdated indicators, weak analysis, incomplete escalation, or information that nobody meaningfully challenges. This creates a dangerous situation. The governance process can appear extremely disciplined because every reporting deadline has been met, but the organization may simply be measuring whether reports were delivered rather than whether oversight actually occurred. A report arriving on time is evidence that a reporting process happened. It is not automatically evidence that effective governance happened. Question 5. We're halfway there. A governance dashboard showing mostly green indicators can sometimes deserve more scrutiny rather than less. The answer is fact. Green indicators are supposed to provide reassurance, but consistently positive dashboards should still be challenged. Why? Because the quality of a dashboard depends on the quality of the indicators, thresholds, data, and assumptions behind it. Perhaps the thresholds are too generous. Perhaps emerging risks are not being measured. Perhaps problems are being resolved before reporting dates and repeatedly reappearing afterward. Or perhaps the dashboard measures whether procedures were completed rather than whether those procedures were effective. A green dashboard can therefore be reassuring. But governance professionals should still ask, what would have to happen for this indicator to turn amber or red? If nobody can answer that convincingly, the color may provide less comfort than it appears. Question 6. Let's raise the difficulty. Increasing the amount of information provided to a board will usually improve the quality of governance oversight. The answer is fiction. More information does not automatically produce better oversight. In fact, excessive reporting can create information overload. Imagine receiving hundreds of pages before every committee meeting. There may be enormous amounts of useful information inside them. But if decision makers cannot identify what changed, what matters, and what requires action, the volume itself becomes a governance problem. Strong reporting therefore requires selection and prioritization. Detailed supporting information may still be available, but the main report should make significant developments visible. Governance reporting is not a competition to produce the largest board pack. Its purpose is to produce understanding. Sometimes the best report is not the one containing more information. It is the one that makes the right information impossible to miss. Question 7. This one catches people off guard. A governance report can be factually correct and still create a misleading impression without containing a single false statement. The answer is fact. This is one of the most important concepts in governance reporting. Reports influence understanding, not only through what they include, but also through what they omit, emphasize, compare, or place into context. Suppose a report says, only 3 significant incidents occurred this quarter. That could sound reassuring. But what if there was only 1 during the previous quarter? Or what if those 3 incidents all involved the same control? Every sentence could be factually accurate while the overall impression still understates the developing problem. Good governance reporting therefore requires context. Decision makers should be able to see trends, recurring issues, concentrations, changes in relationships, not merely isolated numbers. Accuracy matters, but interpretation matters too. Question 8. Stay focused. Governance reporting should sometimes include near misses and emerging concerns even when they have not yet caused an actual loss or failure. The answer is fact. Governance should not operate entirely through the rearview mirror. A near miss may reveal a weakness before that weakness produces serious consequences. Likewise, an emerging risk may deserve attention before it becomes a confirmed incident. Consider a control that fails repeatedly but is rescued each time by an experienced employee. No financial loss occurs. No customer complains. No major incident is recorded. A traditional report might therefore show very little. But from a governance perspective, something important is happening. The organization may be relying on luck, manual intervention, or individual experience to prevent failure. Effective governance reporting should help decision makers identify these leading signals, not merely document damage after it occurs. Question 9. Almost there. If a serious issue has already been included in a governance report, there is usually no need to report it again unless the situation becomes worse. The answer is fiction. Reporting an issue once does not make the issue disappear. Significant matters often need to remain visible until they are appropriately resolved or formally accepted. Governance reporting should allow decision-makers to understand who owns the issue, what actions were agreed, when were they supposed to be completed, are those actions on schedule, has the underlying risk changed, and has the remediation actually solved the problem. Without follow-up reporting, organizations can create what might be called an escalation graveyard. Issues are raised, discussed, and recorded, but gradually disappear from attention without clear evidence that they were resolved. Good governance reporting closes the loop. Question 10. This is the final question, and it's the one that surprises most people. An organization can have accurate reports, sophisticated dashboards, clearly defined reporting deadlines, and regular governance meetings, and still have fundamentally ineffective governance reporting. The answer is fact. This is where governance reporting becomes much deeper than documentation. Every visible part of the reporting system might appear to work. Reports are produced, deadlines are met, dashboards are updated, committees meet, minutes are recorded, actions are assigned, and yet the system can still fail. Why? Because governance reporting is valuable only when information creates understanding, challenge, accountability, and action. If decision-makers routinely accept reports without questioning assumptions, if recurring issues remain unresolved, if important information is buried inside enormous reporting packs, if indicators measure activity rather than effectiveness, if management explanations are never challenged, or if nobody asks whether previous actions actually worked, then the organization may have created something that looks like governance reporting without achieving its real purpose. And that is perhaps the biggest lesson from this entire challenge. Governance reporting is not about proving that reports exist. It is about making sure important information reaches the right people, in the right form, at the right time, and leads to the right questions and actions. A governance system should not merely document reality. It should help decision-makers see reality clearly enough to govern it. All right, how did you do? Drop your score out of 10 in the comments. And be honest, 8 or more? You clearly understand that governance reporting goes much deeper than dashboards and board packs. 10 out of 10? Then you definitely know the difference between receiving information and exercising real oversight. Less than 8? Now you know something many organizations learn the hard way. Good governance reporting isn't about producing more reports. It's about producing better understanding. Hit like, subscribe to Governancepedia, and come back for the next Fact or Fiction challenge. Because in governance, the information you receive matters. But knowing what questions to ask about that information matters even more. Because knowing more is how you stay ahead.